Hey guys, today we are going to be revisiting the RS3 beta, HTML5 beta, whichever you prefer to call it. Right now I am sitting at player on ports, and I thought it would be a good place to start because ports is such a confined area. There's not as much to load. As you can probably see if we look in the distance over here, it just kind of cuts off after the ocean. So I figured it might load a little bit better, but the nice thing is that we really get a view of everything else that's going on. You can see the ship hull right here as part of the bar, you get to see the second story really well, and then you get to see the ships in their full clarity. I have my FPS pulled up in case you'd like to look at it. I will be referencing it probably at least several times, but right now with everything loaded, for the most part, I think everything's loaded, we're hovering just above 10 FPS, anywhere in the low teens. So it's probably running a little bit smoother than what you saw with Colton's RS3 video. Bear in mind that I am using his old computer as my computer now, so none of the specs have changed, and he still has a pretty nice computer, so in comparison to anybody else's, if you're wondering, I will post his specs again, but I have a feeling that okay, so I just got kicked off, actually, the beta. As you can see, I've already loaded everything prior to this because I had to go and play on ports, but it's still taking its sweet time trying to load. It's very aggravating because it supposedly stores data on your computer, but it doesn't seem to access the data, so every time you go in a new area, you have to reload it. I don't know if they plan on changing that at all. I don't know if it's just something that is not working in the beta right now, but literally it'll take a couple of minutes at least your first time just trying to get on. Your name is undefined for quite a while. You can't really click anything, so it's definitely a pain in the butt. Another thing I would like to point out is how the bank currently looks. Some of these things are still very glitchy looking. I previously had some pendants that wouldn't actually appear. It looks like they changed it with an actual in-game change to how pendants look right now, and it looks like they drastically reduced the drop shadow on these, if it's even still there. It's very hard to tell. So we're going to teleport to Kharid. It's a place with many buildings and a lot of miscellaneous stuff. And the last time I was here, I've already previously loaded it, so it shouldn't take me as long. But as you can see, it still takes quite a long time to actually load it. Everything just appears as bulky shadows for the most part. Things in the background sort of slowly appear, and things in the foreground also slowly appear. So I have my FPS back up here. When the game crashed, it took that down, so I apologize for that. As you can see, our FPS was really low, and then it kind of picked up a little bit, and now we're around 10. But if we try running anywhere, it still appears somewhat glitchy, and this is why I usually have my roofs off, because I hate when things pop up at me like this. It kind of spazzes out the game a little bit. I'm running 2 FPS right now. But the funny thing is that as we go over here, the shadows drastically change and we can see them moving. This area looks really nice. We can see the Dominion Tower really well. It just kind of shows you how big it actually is. And then we have the sky beyond it, which is crystal clear. We got some clouds over there. We can see Kharid fairly well from here, and the castle is over there. And then we have the dueling arena. And as I said, the shadows are very true to what it actually looks like, and a desert strikeworm actually just went over the cactus shadow, and it actually showed the desert strikeworm having the shadow rolled off of it like it would in real life. So things are definitely looking pretty good still. I don't know what specific updates they've made. They've said they made some. Definitely the drop shadows in the bank though. But some things still don't load very well, like the mountains over here. You have to get very close to in order for them to actually appear what they are. We have trees loading over there now. But overall, I think it's running a little bit better. I didn't play too much about a month ago, 2 months ago when it came out, so I can't really say for sure. But compared to what Colton was saying and watching his videos and watching him actually play it, running mid-teens on my FPS right now isn't too bad. It just kind of tanks right there because it has to load all of this area over here now in full clarity. They still need to fix a lot of the grid work, and it seems like there's not really any anti-aliasing going on. It's not an option in your graphics settings, which is kind of a bummer. It looks kind of glitchy, especially in the equipment screen. It looks very rough-edged, so that's something that probably also needs to get fixed. But I'm not having too many issues with it right now as it stands. I know a lot of people wish to see the high spots Colton didn't visit on his high spots video, so I'm actually going to be revisiting a lot of them, showing you how it looks like from the top of the tower as opposed to somewhere maybe not as high. Alright, so here we are at the very top. We can still see the haunted mine somewhat well, but now we have clouds rolling over. The clouds and the water, as you can kind of see down here, still have lines on where they actually mold together to form the other clouds, and the other pieces of the water, they seem kind of square-like right now, so that needs to get blended in a little bit better. They're still looking kind of bulky. We can still see everything somewhat well. The shadows are still something I'm really impressed with because it shows so accurately the shadows of everything up here. And then if we look down here, we can see where we just were. The minion tower is still so vast and so huge that we can basically still see all of it, but we have to keep getting closer from at the top of it to fix. My FPS is still running pretty bad. Alright, so here we are at the Ooglog lodestone as we wait for things to load. Bear in mind, every place that I've come to so far today is a place that I've already loaded in a previous game session, so it shouldn't take too long to load. Ooglog actually loads very quickly, both the first and second time I've been here. We can see the Ascension dungeon pretty close by. As I said, the trees just look so tiny because we're so zoomed out, so it definitely needs to have us zoom back in a lot more. As I said before, there's still some glitches, it looks like. I'm not showing my minimap, but right now this entire lake isn't there on the minimap. But here's filled up hills. I know some people want to see this. And according to my minimap, there's actually a lake right here that doesn't actually exist. Which is funny because if we come over here, it's apparently all underwater once we reach a certain area. But we can of course still walk on it. There's still NPCs on top of it. So that just really needs to get fixed. But we can see everything pretty nicely. They definitely need to fix something with the water so we can still see some stuff past it with a little tiny bit of fog. It looks like the sky is kind of overpowering that right now. But if we come up here, we do have a pretty good view. We can actually see the obelisk over here, which kind of actually looks glitchy right now. But for not having everything loaded, the game isn't running terribly well, but compared to the game right now, it should be running better because of how much they've kind of talked about the game and how it should run. I don't know if you noticed, but the water actually just finally updated, it looks like. It was kind of taking its sweet time. Overall, the game, I think, personally, it's just personally, is running a little bit smoother if you're walking and trying to load things. There still needs to be a lot of work done. As I said, people keep talking about how close things are. We just need to zoom in a little bit more, and maybe they need to make the scale of other things seem a lot more vast, such as the trees need to be taller. And I still think that for areas like over here, if they were to add a slight fog like we can see on the landscape to the actual trees over here, there might currently be one on them, I can't really tell, but it needs to kind of fade out because, as I said, most people in real life don't have an eye view that's a lot taller than our character that we can see right now, of course. So if we kind of make it look like it's a lot farther away, then I think that would be a benefit for all of us. Alright, so Colton visited the Barbarian Agility Arena yesterday, and he somehow managed to glitch it somehow. I'm not sure, he was just running around, and I think his character somehow lagged a little bit, and it seems like everything got shifted off course a little bit. As you can see in the first picture, he was floating above the Agility Arena by actually quite a lot, and in the following pictures, whenever he would supposedly stand on an object, which he's not actually standing on it, he is just appearing like he's on it, it would like throw him up in the sky. And this actually happened to some NPCs as well. He saw a moss giant fly up in the air, and we saw a couple barbarians doing the same thing. Of course, it didn't have any benefit of him to experience this glitch whatsoever. He would still have to technically go through pipes or whatever if he wanted to get to the agility arena. It just looked like he was actually going through walls or something of sort, although he actually was not. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. We may be revisiting the interface beta. It's in beta stage right now, as most of you probably know, and we'll compare how things are loading compared to when we first viewed it. So thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video.